All right, welcome to our weekly New Gambia Talk Show. Today is February 5th, 2023. Today we're gonna be discussing about the IEC plans to introduce paper ballot, possibly this local election or 2026 election. So we're gonna look into that and see the pros and cons and anything associated with that. We're also gonna look into the local government elections as well. So I have my co-panelists here, Sam Sisi from Indiana. Sam, you welcome. I have Pamela Rami.
Thank you.
Pamela, welcome. I'm your host here. Welcome. Sam, we go with you first. What do you think about the plan that IEC has about the paper ballot, and how is it gonna change our election?
Yeah,
What are the things that you involved? And also what are your thoughts on the local election coming up?
yeah, you're not coming out very clear, but
So you can hear me. You can hear me.
there's a little echo in your voice, but I understand what you said. So, getting right to the topic here. I mean, thank you, Mrs. Sound. Thank you, Famara. Definitely being here. Good to see both of you. Again, the paper ballot is before I talk about the paper ballot, I want to talk about IEC a little bit since they want to introduce paper ballot. And like I always say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I think IEC institution itself need to restructure themselves because they are public institution that is there to represent and be the referee of all elections. So very important. Since the previous elections that we had in Gambia has had quite a bit of rumors, quite a bit of um, abnormalities, things that happen under the IEC watch. And I think IEC need to regulate themselves, restructure themselves, make themselves be a trustworthy institution for Gambians to trust with their elections. And this is part of the reason I've always wanted. I'm always going to advocate for IEC chairman to be someone that we elect. We go to ballot box and elect through elections, because when you have countries like Gambia in Africa, it's very important knowing that there's a lot of corruption, a lot of things that happen. The person in charge of people's election is a very important person. It's very important position, and it's very important to the people. We want to make sure that the right person that wins election is the right person. We want to make sure the person that actually wins is the person that people elected, not the wrong person by creating misappropriations and other things. So IEC, I believe, number one, the IEC chairman himself need to be elected so that they have no fear from the president, whoever the president is, moving forward. So there is no fear of doing their job put into the law and be held accountable, and so they can hold their own people accountable and be able to make judgments within themselves for any polling agent, anyone, any representative from IEC should be a very honest and trustworthy person that will represent the people and give the people their voice. That's very important. So one, that's what I want to start with. Number two, it is very important that anything that you plan to do, especially in Gambia, if you think that in the United States here, anything that's new, that's coming, what do you see first? They put a lot of commercials in public, a lot of samples, a lot of commercials in radio and publication, a lot of demonstrations, a lot of videos out there to teach people how to do it. IEC need to get that done before they get into changing the paper to paper ballot. The marble is fine. Counting the marble is great. Easy to count. I mean, from what we've seen in history, but the disadvantages of marble or the advantage of paper ballot, paper is a lot easier. people can really vote with paper if they know what they do. So the know-how is very important, and knowing that I would say maybe half of our population is not educated. The vote, half of the voters that are going to vote, the farmers that are in the country don't know what is on that paper, may not know how to do that, but they know to hold a marble and drop it in one box. That is easy, that's the advantage of a ballot. They can just drop it and drop it in the ballot where they see a picture of their candidate. Well, so when you go to paper, it's very, very important before you make that switch to make it very clear, to have at least 6 months of advertisement, get on radio and television, have people demonstrate how this is done, tell people how this is going to be done. Every week they need to have it on television, not only talking about it, but demonstrating with videos of people doing the paper ballot, voting by paper. How do you vote by paper? What should people be looking for? All of these are very important things that they need to do before they switch. Otherwise, it can be a chaos when they switch. It can be a chaos. You will see people all over the country that have never been to school, don't know what to do on paper, they don't know what is on paper, can't read and write, and you hand them paper, you say paper ballot, go vote, and they could be misled as well. So my fear is that initial training of the general public on how to vote by paper. Very, 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 very important. It's very, very important. I'll stress that, I can't stress that enough. If they don't teach people and don't give themselves allowance, months to demonstrate, months to teach people and show people how this is going to work and tell people why. All of those are important. Why are we changing? How are we going to change? And when is this going to be effective? All of this is going to be important. And they should not go back and forth. They cannot do the mayor and councilors election on paper. And then when the general elections comes, they say, we're going back to the marble. If you're changing, change for good by proper planning. Plan first. Because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So planning is very important to make sure they check all the ducks in a row, make sure everything is set to move forward for good, so we're not going back. So that's what I want to say. Stress out first, and I'll stop and give Pamela a chance.
Yeah. Okay. So Sam, before Pamela comes in, just you didn't speak about the fraud aspect of it. Do you think it's going to be transparent and also fraud free with paper ballot? That is something that I haven't had you talk about, and then probably.
Yes. Did you say, is it going to be transparent? Is that what you said?
And then fraud is there will not be there won't be fraud involved.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, there was fraud involved in the marble, and obviously fraud will be involved in this too. That's why I said
which one is more fraud? I mean, like
well, I think the paper ballot is paper is a lot easier to move. You could paper is easy, it's lighter, it's easy to move, and I can see that happen very well. No doubt in my mind, knowing that corruption has already swallowed Gambia, I'll put it that way. It's a lot easier to go with paper ballot from my understanding, and I think it's going to happen. There's no doubt in my mind.
So you say that it's easier to steal the election through paper ballot?
Yes, correct. Yeah, I think it will be easier to steal with paper ballot.
So that means that we're not ready for it yet, or we cannot find some security measures.
Yeah, they can move things around. I'm not sure how they're going to structure it. That's why I said it's very, very important people know why we are changing, how we are going to change, and when is this going to be effective. These three things are very, very important. People need to know how. And when they know how, they know what is on the paper ballot, what is going to be there to protect the fraud, because they need to protect the fraud. They need to do everything on the paper ballot to make sure there is no confusion. If you're going to vote for somebody, there's no confusion on that paper. And there's to make sure that they protect it to a point where you cannot move this paper to this person or vice versa, to make sure that it's all protected. But
you also think that is more effective than the marble?
The effectiveness, give and take, I take it as long as it's true and honest, they are both effective.
But
They are
which one
both
is more?
effective. But it be fair, to be fair, and for Gambians, it's easier to continue to do the marble. Yes, we can move from that to the new style because marble needs a lot of carrying of the ballots and all of that stuff. And I can understand that. And the counting of it, but they still going to count the paper ballot as well. So I feel like there's a lot of paper ballot in the world, people using paper ballot. I don't see any reason why we can't change, but I don't want to change when we're not ready for the change yet. That's my fear because again, it's the same thing. People want to sit and count. And I don't understand how and why political parties have their representatives in every ballot, but they can still play games in there to steal people's vote and then give it to the wrong person. I don't understand why that is happening, how that is happening. IEC has not been transparent, and that transparency is very important. And this is why from the beginning, I wanted IEC. I recommended IEC chairman to be elected by the people so they have no fear from the executive branch. Yeah, they can do their job. If the executive branch fail, they fail. There's nothing they can do because they cannot remove them. Only the people can remove them. When we get to that point, I think that's when we're gonna have free and fair elections. But until then, that fear is gonna be there. There's gonna be pressure, always a pressure from the ruling party that don't want to give up, even if they are as bad as anything. They don't want to give up. They want to control their ballot. They want to control to stay in power, even for the wrong reasons.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Sam, for that. What is your take on this paper ballot and local election coming up?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Sawane and Sam, for this important topic of discussion. Obviously, we all heard it from the IEC that they are planning to switch from marble type of voting system to the paper system. I think this is very important to look into that direction. And some say it's even more easier to vote by paper than ballot by the marble. Sorry. So what is not clear to me, whether it is something that the IEC can do without, or they have to get a consultation with political parties or National Assembly. I don't know how the procedure is like if IEC want to change a ballot system. I don't know whether there are procedures that they need to follow. But one thing Sam mentioned is education and awareness, because if you are changing from one system to another, the citizens must be fully aware of how the new system works. And that is done well in advance, since they're planning to have this introduced in 2026, and already we're in 2023 now. I think the process needs to start. I believe that it should be a budget for it. It shouldn't be more expensive than the marble one, because one of the reasons or one of the justification that IEC is given is that, you know, in making this production and this marble drums, the voting drums, there are many, like in putting the consideration how many political parties we have now. You know, say we have 10 political parties or 15 or 16 that's going to participate in 2026. So if we do not switch to paper ballot, they have to make drums for all the 16 parties, you know, multiply by all the regions that people are going to vote. So IEC chairman was saying, if you go to their headquarters or if you go to their regional offices, there are a lot of drums sitting out there that they spend a lot of money making. And sometimes some of them just, you know, stay there for a while. So one of the reasons they want to introduce this is the paper ballot. And I think it's a smart idea too. A lot of countries are changing into that. Gambia is the one that has this traditional marble system. It has been working for us, and it's been very helpful. I said recently we have seen, you know, counting is done on the spot. You know, people vote, you know, and then straight away they go into counting, and then within the next couple of hours or so, you know, the results are out, you know. So it's very quick. So I don't know about the paper ballot, whether it's going to be the same system or not. whether people are going to have results immediately. Paper in some countries like India, I think I was reading online one time. I think India, paper ballots, there are a lot of frauds happening in India because of the paper ballot system. And then also the results are not immediately available because you have to go and count them again. So these are some of the things that we need to put in. But IEC needs to work on the integrity. IEC needs to, there are a lot of clouds hanging over the head of IEC in terms of conducting elections. So I don't know whether this could be part of the bigger, election reform that the Gambians were talking about, that instead of coming to the paper, let's have a comprehensive electoral reform before the 2026 elections, so we can know, that we have a proper system in place and there'll be a monitoring system in place and make sure that, the elections are free and fair, because everybody is complaining and then IEC is not actually, addressing those complaints. They've been happening in and out. And one of those things is how the president has the power to, to select or elect the chairman of the IEC. Those things needs to be amended as well. The chairman should be independent. He should be ready to defend the constitution of the Gambia. He should be ready to say what is right or what is wrong. When there are delays in counting or the results of the counting is taking a while, we should be able to know what is the reason why it is delaying and all those things. So those regular updates and then politicians interfering, and then, also, how people get access to our national document as well, like with a simple Alcalo attestation paper, to get registered in our country. I think those are things that needs to be changed, obviously. We should have more than,
that's really
one or two levels of, checking people. Yes, you can have Alcalos attestation. That shouldn't be enough alone, because we all know now the Alcalos are under the payroll of the government. So the government has the power to say, Alcalo, I need this ballot, attestation letters, for members of the political party. And how do you know that it is going to those political parties? So we don't know. So the system is not there yet. So I'm not sure if we are prepared, to switch without clearing out the mess that we are already in, and then also, the reforms that we need to embark on before we move on. So those are very critical. Yeah, but it's a step in the right direction to go into people, because the advantage is bigger than the disadvantage. But the advantage is easier for somebody to look at the picture and say, this is my political leader. And then once with the awareness and education, that even an illiterate or somebody who doesn't go to school can be able to vote with the paper. And hopefully this will also help us to match our presidential elections and the other local elections together. If the presidential election is conducted alone, maybe the mayoral election and the councilor's election could be done the same day. That could also save IEC time and the resources with the paper ballot. So you can select your MP at the same time, go and select your councilor. That way it can all be done in one day instead of having separate elections for both the mayoral and the council elections. So this could also save time, and it could also save resources. So that could be a very big advantage to it. But we need electoral reforms. We need electoral reforms. Without that, people are not going to have confidence in the IEC because the way they do things. And that has happened not even on this previous administration, even in this present administration, but even in the previous administration. We have seen, people are going out to register, in places that are isolated. Nobody have access to those areas. You don't know who they come out. Those 300 voters cards that were intercepted or burned down from the previous administration. Where were they? Who issued them? There is no system to track those voters cards. So I think we need to have a proper system. Yeah, without proper systems, the fraud, the violations, will bound to happen.
Thank you, Bambara. Bambara, you have touched. Producer Sam will join us shortly. He's driving sons football game, basketball game. Now, very important point here you mentioned. First, you said that to have the to clean up the mess, which is, the way, people are registered. Can you hear me? You can hear me, Farmer?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
So people are registered. I need to be clear first, and then make sure that right people, and then Fordland, what is card coming from elsewhere. I think IEC would have to definitely, look at that, because that alone can determine the winner is, even though the person is going to be winner, because if illegal voters cards, acquired, then it's going to be undermine the election. So what I'm asking is, what can be done that can be done now that hasn't been done to stop this? Because the past election, people believe that this was done, even though we said we changed, even though we said that things were political oppositional parties were vetting, they're going to places where registration takes place and have their representative there across the country, but still there are claims that people were registered around the borders. It looks like that issue hasn't been resolved yet. What do you think can be to make sure that this is done? Because I can understand with Gemma's time, probably people will not go that far to vet this, these folks voting or who are registering. But with this past election, opposition parties were there. The registration placed by the IEC was. By the IEC were. So why is it that this is the issue? What can be done to stop it?
Yeah, thank you, Sawale. This is a question of, respecting our country. It's a question of being patriotic, and respect our laws, because it's very, very clear that in any country you go, it is only the citizens that are allowed to vote. All right, you cannot go to a country and you are not a citizen and you want to vote. That's against the law. That is not acceptable. So I think we, the Gambians, should take a lead in this situation. Let us not be selfish. Let us not look at our political interests, and then ignore the interests of our nation. So if we do that, you're only interested in winning elections. So how are you going to win the elections? You don't care. So then you are putting our country into jeopardy, because those people that are, non-eligible citizens that are laying their hand on our national document, we don't know what they do with it. We don't know how it is helping them to do what they want to do in our country. We don't know how they're doing it to get something out of our country using our country's name. So we just have to be honest to ourselves. Know that whatever you do, as a political leader, as a political party representative, as a head of a community, alcalo or sefo, whatever you might call yourself, whatever you do, that is against the law of the country, you will be held accountable for it in this dunya on Akhira, because obviously the lives of the Gambians are very important. And this is what we see here, people ignore. They think it's not important, that you can go help people out, and then register them and then come and vote for you and you win elections. But how those people use those voters' card to turn it out to get an ID card, to turn it out and get a passport later on. Because once you get the Alcalo as a station, that you are born here, or maybe you have been living here in the Gambia for 15 years, which the law has given you. And there are procedures. The immigration law says, if you live in a country like in a Gambia for 15 years, you are eligible to apply for naturalization. You can do that, But people bypass those immigration laws and then wait for the time when the election is closer, and then go hide behind politicians and then say, I want a quick attestation because my ID card, I don't even have one, or I had it, it got lost, and nobody can even get track of those ID cards. Then that politician will go to the Alcalo and say, because he knows that you are a prominent member of a political party, you went to knock the Alcalo's door, and they say, we want 15 or 100 attestation forms. because some of our political or our supporters don't have it. The alcalde will issue it to you. He will not hesitate. You know, he will not hesitate. We have seen that circumstances, and we have seen people even, because some of those attestation forms might have serial numbers, some of them might not. But we've seen people even photocopy it. You can give them one original, somebody go and photocopy it, and they make their own serial number or even stamp. That. So that's why we say we need to change that system, where the alcalde attestation alone, it's good to have alcalde attestation, because sometimes you can born in a community, you don't even have an ID card. But when time comes for you to apply for it, you need to go to the alcalde. The alcalde need to confirm that this person is a community member. This person is born here. This person has been living here for over 15 years, which the law allows you to do. But if you don't do that, you just go and lay your hands on this, it's going to bring confusion. And we have seen like elections in other regions, the numbers have inflated. In the past election records, where in a small village where you never had, 1,000, you never had, 500 voters, and then all of a sudden that number stood to 700 or to, 1,005 within few years, or say 5 years from the last election. That obviously is, it's a red flag, And then also the politician in Senegal standing in the National Assembly saying that his community, there are a lot of people with a Gambian ID card. That is a red flag. That is a red flag, and we all know it is happening. And then they go to areas where people will not identify those people, and they go to the border communities, get what they want to do, and then come out and vote, and they go back at night. And then the politicians will sponsor the transportation and the food, the living costs, and all those things. They're born to win. But in the whole, we are selling ourselves. We are making our country vulnerable, to the impacts of those, some of those people that are voted in our systems are not eligible. So there's not going to be free and fair. So that might bring chaos in our country, and those people laying their hands on our national document can do stuff that we don't know. It's going to be detriment to our country. That's why we have a lot of stuff going on in our country that we cannot explain. So I think we need to be honest. We need to be honest to ourselves. And getting honest to ourselves is we have to respect our country. We have to respect our laws. We have to make sure that we defend the integrity of our country. And the body that is responsible for administering elections, that is the IEC needs to show transparency and needs to show that they really care about every report that comes to their table for investigation. They need to investigate it, and they need to give feedback once those investigations are done. But you cannot complain, you write reports, you write complaints, and you don't hear much coming out. And you know that this is an open allegation against your institution that you are serving, and nothing is being done against it. So I think there's a whole lot of work to be done, but it all starts from us being good citizens and being honest to ourselves. Let us not put our political interests first before the community, before the country. So very important.
Yeah, thank you. It seems like what you have pretty much said is that in order to solve this problem, it has to start with us. I think that's why we pointed out, because if we don't love our country, we don't care who votes, and we give them all these papers, that would undermine not only the sovereignty of our country, but it also undermines the security. I think that's a fair analysis. Having to give this attestation to these folks, these foreigners, and making their way to become citizens just for political gain, just for political support. It's really, really undermining our country well-being. So I think, Barbara, you mentioned a very important point. But what I'm saying is that why would they have to wait, these people? Why would they have to wait? And you or Sam can answer that. They have to wait until the election time to look for this attestation. If your document is lost, you should be able to go and replace it right away, knowing that you will need it. Or if you are born somewhere and then you waited until 17 years old, 18 years old, and you have to, get the document, proper document. Why would you wait until election? So that's when, it's a red flag. That's when it's a red flag, because all these people are coming during election time. for attestation. If my parents are foreigners in it, I was born in the country and I never had papers, I would have to try to get those papers before election time. I don't have to wait until 1 week or 1 month to election and go to the Alcalo, my parents go and get attestation and get witnesses and so forth. So I think what the solution to it is to come with the laws that would stop these things. Attestation, even attestation should be definitely, we should do away with it because it doesn't make sense having to open that loop to qualify our electorates. That's not good. So it has to be, there should be laws in place to say, here, if election season, you should register, you should fix your things. One election pass, another one comes in 5 years or couple of years. Well, why shouldn't you be, working on your papers the right way? And then if people are saying that, oh, they never had a birth certificate because they're in provinces, listen, everything is a process. If you do it at the right time, perhaps, people will not be doubtful. But if you are scrambling months before the election and coming with all this attestation, people will be like suspicious. And this is why that man in Senegal was posted, was forcefully saying that his people have Gambian documents because it's been the procedure since previous governments. So I think that loophole need to be closed. This attestation thing, if we want to really do transparency, and also you mentioned something about love your country and making sure that we make this thing fair. But this politician in power who want to stay in power, they don't see that. They see love of country as being there. They are ordained to be there for as long as possible. So that's what they say. They don't see that, things has to be fair. We have to love countries in this place. If that's the case, they wouldn't be going to the borders and register for these folks in the experts of the Gambia. So I think that patriotism that we speaks about is a key. I agree with you on Farmara. That could make a huge difference, but Gambians are not ready for that. I don't know when we're going to be ready for that. The love of country, putting your personal interest with side. We are not really there yet. If we are ready, this was the opportunity in 2016 when New Gambia was found. Yeah, but we decided to take on the other one. And now we blame Jammeh. All these things, corruptions and all these things, now that's what we're doing. That's what the current government is doing. Living at a higher level. So I think moving forward, I just want to also ask, what if let's say, we go with the people ballot. I know some people are not educated. Would there be a way that we can have both so that people who are not seasoned on the paper ballot, people who are not comfortable with it, can also use the marbles? I don't know if this is something that you guys think will work or if IEC is considering this. Anyway, Sam can come in here. Anyone of you can answer this. If both methods could be used in a specific condition. Sam, you want to come?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Welcome.
Okay. All right.
Welcome
Good.
Joining us.
Yeah, exactly. On the road now. So yeah, I missed some of what Farmer said, but I heard the later part of it, and from the beginning and what he said to the end also all make perfect sense. So thank you, Farmer. Thank you for that. Great details on that. Definitely. I think, like I said from the beginning, IEC need to be restructured, meaning definitely our National Assembly need to look at the IEC Act and change or amend some laws in there to make it very stringent to make it harder for any fraud in the system there. And once we have that in place, one of those will be the IEC chairman need to be protected so that they cannot have any fear from the executive. But also I heard Farmer talking about the Alcalo, and you and Farmer, Alcalo attestation. I've always been against that. I mean, we should not be using Alcalo attestation for voter registration card. I think the voter registration card should be based on people should be using two documents here. One is the most important one is the birth certificate. If you are born in Gambia, you will have a birth certificate, right? And then the ID card and passport. Well, technically, those two cannot be obtained without a birth certificate. So the birth certificate will be the most important one. If people have their birth certificate, they should be able to vote. If people have their ID card, because to get the ID card, you have to present your birth certificate. So that would be one way to do it. To get a passport, you have to present a birth certificate. So I can see those three being used, but not the Alcalo attestation. If you were really born, if somebody was born in Gambia, they need to be able to obtain their birth certificate before the elections and not wait until elections to go and get an attestation from Alcalo, which people are photocopying those forms and spreading them out. So the forms are really not even coming from Alcalo. Anybody can write that and sign it and send it out or put somebody else's name. Gambia is full of fraud, and we need to protect that. And as part of the IEC restructuring or reform and electoral reform, I think one of the things they need to put in place is to make sure that there is a fraud protection plan in place. To have a committee that is responsible for fraud protection, that is going to really also monitor IEC to make sure to see all the activities and be able to be in position to even have an IEC agent arrested for something for something wrong. If they do something wrong that is against the law passed by the National Assembly. So the fraud protection agency need to be there to be able to monitor all of the activities, but also be able to really sit down and frequently analyze how they operate and look at possible ways of fraud and close those loopholes there before the fraud happens. And study as they go on election after election, and be able to continue to change within themselves and implement those changes so that there's no fraud. I think that needs to happen. The other part is, yes, IEC mentioned, from Farmer, I heard this from Farmer and made me recall, and I heard this on the news. IEC was saying part of the reason they wanted to go to paper ballot was to be able to save money by not creating or making more of those barrels that they use for holding the marbles. Yes, it is true. My response to that is, yes, you can save money there, but boy, the money that you save, you better use it on the diaspora. You better get the diaspora people to vote. They have to vote this coming election. If not, we, the people in the diaspora, we need to file a lawsuit because our rights have been taken away from us. We are supposed to be voting. Every country has people all over the world, and their people are voting except Gambians, except Gambians, as far as I know. Now, maybe another country which we don't care about. We care about ourselves, our citizenship. Gambians in the diaspora must vote. We have to vote. So IEC, yeah, if you want to make changes and go to paper ballot because you want to save money, the money you save from that, spend it on diaspora. Put the same things in place. Put action in place. Put things in place so that the people in the diaspora can vote in the next presidential election. This must be a must be implemented. They must do something about this. If not, the people in the diaspora, we need to form a team. We need to have representatives. We need to pay lawyers to file a court case against IEC for not allowing us to vote. That means by taking our rights away, because our vote is our right. It's a fundamental right. It's a constitutional right. So we have to be able to vote, but we're not able to vote yet. And no one has any right to take that vote away from us. So I would say that the National Assembly should really, when they amend the laws and do electoral reform, they need to stress that out there, that the people in the diaspora must vote in every election. No exception. No, I mean, make it where even the president cannot overturn that. That's the way it needs to be.
Thank you, Sam, for that.
Yeah.
Pamela, you have anything to add to that?
Yes, some mention about diaspora voting. I think this time around we should not take any excuse from IEC. They have plenty time to prepare for this before 2026 election. That's why we need a total reform of our electoral system. And definitely we cannot be allowed to, to be sitting on the fence, not voting as citizens. So I think this time around there shouldn't be any excuse. If they don't have the resources, let them start mobilizing the resources. But of course, if we move to this ballot thing, we're going to save money. So I don't see any reason why we should not vote. I think that's very, very important. Yeah. But then,
what about
yeah, absolutely. So we support the idea of going paper ballot, but there's a lot of work to be done. The institution by now, I think after this mayoral and council's election this year, IEC need to embark on serious campaign on national TVs and radios, review the past elections, what happened, the complaints that has been raised by people, go one by one, look at those things and what they have done and what their plans are before the next election is coming. This is the right time to discuss about it. You don't wait until election is 1 year away. You want to start, running helter-skelter, trying to get things fixed. You don't have the time. The time is not be there. The 1 year before the election should be finalizing the processes, but then we already finished 1 year is gone. So we've got like 4 more years before the election. So let's just say 3 years is what we got left right now, to prepare. So whatever we need to do should be in the next 3 years, or the next couple of years, from 2023 to 2025. From 2025, these 2 years is when we got something to do if we want to do. 2025 to 2026, that is just a preparation, finalizing the plans that we have. So it's very important we start doing the assignment, engage the Gambians, let us bring back that confidence.
But
the IEC system, yeah. And
yeah,
then,
but what I noticed, Sam, what I noticed is that if you create a paper ballot, right? Say these people are not people are gonna fill out the papers and put them in some place, and somebody manually have to count it, or maybe electronically counted. There is a lot of maybe errors on the voting. We have seen that here in the US, and people have to go and hand count these ballots. Okay, somebody probably don't even fill out the ballot properly, or they went, instead of having to put it for presidential, they went and put it to mayor, to other candidates like Senate candidate, congressman's category. So this mismatch of information actually cause a lot of ballots that are trashed, because you don't have the luxury to go back and get this again to find out who they're voting for. And being that Gambia, of course, FCC is still there. So if you want to do this paper ballot, that might be a challenge. There will be many ballots that will not be taken by the system if it is electronic. And determines whether that candidate is that person is putting his intention is to put candidate X or candidate Y. So it's a lot of complexity, and also who manages this balance, because these ballots need to be tallied by, and I know IEC is going to be doing that, but if an IEC is not being, people don't have faith in IEC to the level that it needs to be, anything can be manipulated at that level if it is paper ballot. Perhaps we will not have physical evidence of such. So paper ballot comes with a lot of challenges, even though it's easier, It's easier. It can cover a large number of purposes, but at the same time, it brings a lot of challenges, especially to a country like Gambia that is not technologically equipped. You know, we are far behind when it comes to technology. Internet is going down. You know, and then things are not. I mean, like even resources are not even there to actually get some of these polling stations, set up. So the system even is a challenge in the West sometimes, much more than in the Gambia. So what I would recommend IEC to probably this upcoming election, like 2 days of it. Like phase one would be like having in places where it's possible. The populace can really understand it and gradually, roll it out. Do like a segments this time around and still have the markers so that we can still bring like the changes can go gradually. But if you wanna roll it out the whole country, we might end up having an election that is not fair or transparent because of the technology. Technology is probably like new to us. So that's my take on that. I don't know if you guys think about it. I mean, you guys
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So moving to the local election, we've seen that local election is fast approaching and preparations are in place. All eyes are on the KMC mayoral seats and then also Banjul mayoral seats and local government. And the parties are geared up, as we can see. Politics is at its highest. So what do you guys think about the local election, the dynamics of it before we wrap up?
Yeah, thank you. I know it's coming fast approaching, but we haven't seen the complete list of people who are actually vying in for the mayor and the chairmanship positions. We know the UDP has already, finalized their selection process. I think the NPP is still lingering. I think the deadline for submission has closed. So maybe they're still finalizing on who to pick. But so far, we know in Banjul, we had how they call it, Ibu Fai, and also the youth minister is also one of those candidates vying for who interested in the KMC position. That's what we know so far. So for Brikama, we don't know yet. I know GJ is planning to run on the NPP ticket. If not, he might go independent. And we know that Youngster is already finalized as a UDP candidate for Brikama. And then also London Sane for LRR. And then you have Danjo for URR. And then also the guy in CRR, I don't know his name, and NBR. So for UDP candidates, we know they've been finalized. So the rest of the parties yet and independent candidates are not fully known yet. Yeah, but it's going to be a very interesting, elections. I'm sure once the candidates are finalized, the campaign starts. We'll start listening to, the campaign promises or what their missions are, in terms of, improving the situation. But some of them have already done a lot. The KMC mayor is one of them. He did very well this last 5 years. We have seen a lot of infrastructural development in KMC. And then recently we have also seen the environmental project with the EU. EU has funded or is still going on. And they are doing a lot of good job. I think they're building a library for KMC. And then also a community radio also has been done. The ballot project, we have seen a lot of waste trucks coming in. The beautification of KMC, we have also seen that, a lot more that's happening there. So far, he's on a good track, and then he has done a lot. So we see what others have in offer that they want to do more than what he has done. We can listen to those too. And then Banjul too, obviously, the mayoress has been doing good as well. And we have also seen her win international recognitions, which put the Gambia and the Banjul at on the map. Of course, recently we have seen a lot of, comments on his financial management, especially at the National Assembly. I think that's something to look at, and those procedures that has been violated, in terms of following the procedures, withdrawing money or doing projects without, and then, those needs to be, worked on, obviously. And I hope they find time to clear themselves how they got that wrong, and if they got it wrong, just come out and say, I got it wrong, apologize, and then tell us where the money is gone, and move on. And then recently also we have seen her relationship with the councillors, some of the councillors, accusing her of not attending meetings, and then also those things here and there. I think those also needs to be improved, because the council cannot also function very well without the councillors. So those are your ministers, those are your cabinet ministers. You need to work alongside with them for a mayor or a chairman to deliver what COC wants to deliver. So if you have those kind of problems internal, it also affects your output, in terms of what you want to deliver. So I think those are there. I don't know much about LRR, what Landing is doing. And then, but I think so far he is doing good, because he was never challenged by anybody in terms of the tickets over there. I know in the URR, the market project was something that was, a hot debate in URR, because when the fire incident happened, we have seen a lot of politicians, contributed to that project, and including the government also supported in terms of rebuilding the project. But once the project was over, instead of being handed over to the chairman, there was that pull and push between the governor taking in charge instead of the area council, which we all know definitely, the area councils are actually in charge of markets. So if governor for some reason wants to, or the government wants the governor to take in charge, I think that should be a procedures and to follow, rather than openly decline that things should be done the way the government wanted. So I think those are some of the things. So in general, every region have their own problems, but also there are also success and achievements registered this last 5 years, and we recognize that it has changed a little bit. So we want to see those candidates, what they have more in terms of projects that they've started or could not done, right, that they want to embark on for the next 5 years. We listen to them again. And then the new ones coming in, obviously we want to see what they got. I know the youth minister contested in the mayoral elections before. He has unveiled his plans for the KMC, which unfortunately he could not, win that elections. But he's coming back again with fresh ideas and new mind, for the fact that also he's been the youth minister. So maybe he has some youth projects within KMC that he wants to embark on or want to start. So let's see all what he had. So, and
so is he seriously running?
Well, it looks like it, because he said, according to what we had, it is the party, it is internal, the people of the party that are coming to him to run. And it looks like, on all indication, if the party people come to you, then you have to listen to them. And the party.
You think he would give his ministry post after that?
Well, yeah, I think if the party wants him, he will definitely do, because at the end of the day, it is the president that's going to appoint him again if you lose the mayoral elections. So he could easily go back to his youth minister if he doesn't win, because the president has the power, to select the minister.
In this case, the party is really pushing the buttons.
Yeah, because it's a hot spot for the MPP. MPP really wants to get hold of that.
But do you want to say that they don't have anybody else besides Baji?
Well, if they have, the person will not match the credibility of the current mayor. Especially when you have somebody who is not a younger person, somebody who is an elderly person. Maybe they have run elections before, or maybe they have been in other parties before. We have seen their performance. So unless they come out, we don't know yet. So for somebody to match the level of Talib is to bring a youth person, and that youth person can be only Bakar Baji, who has already, vied the position in the past before. So and he is currently a youth minister. So I don't think Bakari is losing, because when he doesn't get the position, there's a high likely that the President Barrow will give him another position if he doesn't win the mayoral election. But they just want to grab the position, and they think
by any means necessary.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've seen the president making comments like they are not inviting them. KMC is not inviting them when they are inaugurating projects, or they are saying that, oh, this is a government project. Why will KMC take it as if it is theirs, or not rolling a red carpet and all those things you hear about, all red carpets, issues going on. So it's something that the government really want to be part of KMC project, but unfortunately, it is the council that initiated some of those projects. So all government can do is just to come in, and be a player and be part of them, give them a support. And we have also seen, the local government minister, at some point, we're trying to get these councillors under his belt, that they have to be answerable to him. Even when they are traveling, they have to get permission from the minister, which the National Assembly later on, give the power to the council. They don't have to take permission from the local ministry. Right. So there have been a lot of efforts, to get them micromanaged so that they can dance to the tune of the local ministry or to the government. So which all never happened. So you can see the bone of contention. You can see the hustle. You can see the whatever they are doing. But well, let's see what happens.
Thank you. Sam, your thoughts on the local election before we wrap it up. Sam, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Your thoughts on local elections before we wrap it up.
Yep. Finally, I would say this, it is very important for Gambians. And my take on this is really Gambians to look at what is good for them. And one of those is, do we have people and capable people that can fill that position? And also at the same time, do we have, Gambians need to ask themselves, let's look at the records. Let's look at people's records. Someone that served in the mayor's position and someone that serves in the councilor's position, it's very important to look at their records. Before you jump and vote for somebody else, ask yourself about the person that's currently occupying the position. What are they doing, or what have they done in that position? Have they satisfied the people? Are they doing a great job? If so, do you need to change them? If no, then you stick with the person that you have and continue to vote for that person. Another part to do is, I know there are different political parties there that are all going to contest in the elections. It's important that the general public look at or ask themselves about the current ruling party and their nominees, people that they nominate to go vote, to go contest in the elections. People are not stupid nowadays. They are going to look at, if so-and-so is from so-and-so political party, and that party is doing a great job for our country, yes, let's vote for them and keep them. But if this is a party that's not doing a good job for our country, we are definitely not going to vote for them. So this is the reality. People need to look at the reality. Look at what is good for our country before we think about what is good for our parties. Look at the country. If you have an incumbent, especially since they are not on a term limit, you have an incumbent that is doing a great job and can move the country forward, or has moved the country forward, has done a great job and impact people's lives by creating a lot of changes and a lot of development in there, I would support the vote for that person to stay there rather than changing that. I don't want to fix anything that's not broken. So let's keep that in mind. Don't fix something that's not broken. This person or these people are there, people that are there that are doing a great job. Sometimes if you change them, you bring somebody else, you may be changing for a worse. You may bring the worst person in, or someone that is going to do the worst, that is going to dive down and take us the wrong direction. And we don't want that. We need development. we need development from our country from every institution, from the top, from the president's office, all the way down to the community level. We need development. And so I am going to support for Gambians to look at who is going to give them that development. Look at people's track record. What have they done for you? What have they been doing in the country? What is their track record? What is their integrity like before you vote for them? Those are very, very important. And then make that final decision to vote for someone. So that's all I want to say for now.
Good, very good, very good. So let's make a prediction here. Which one you think is for grabs? Which I mean, like when it comes to mayor positions, which ones you guys think is for up to grab, and which one is definitely gonna be a hassle?
Well, I would say that I think in my prediction, I think Bensouda will win and stay in position. And I think Rahim Malik Low is going to win. She is going to stay in position. Brikama, I don't know. I think, Brikama is sorry. Brikama, I don't know all of them, of course. I don't know all of these people and their integrities, but I know Brikama and Basse could be a challenge. It's up for grabs, and anybody could win that. But I think for Brikama, I think even people in Brikama should want the current councillor to, what is his name again? I don't even know him, but he needs to go. Whatever his name is, the one that is there now, he's got to go. He's got to go. He is not worth anything. He is not worth people's vote, because we've seen the Brikama market. We've seen what's been happening in Brikama. So he's got to go. If I were to advise, I'll tell people, don't vote for that guy. Vote for somebody else. Yep.
Thank you. What about you, sir? Barbara? Which one is for up for grab, and which one is really a hassle?
Yeah, I mean, for me now, elections in the Gambia is unpredictable because you never know, who is doing something illegal on the ground that you don't know. You get high hope, and then you come, you hide your hopes. You learned
a lesson from the last election, right?
Yeah, because you look at what happened. I mean, you can be thinking that you are going to win, but somebody's doing some dirty games on the ground that you don't know, and then election results are announced. You are even surprised where those voters are coming from. So for me, I would just take it as it is. Whoever wins, I see you winning.
But don't you think that the local the National Assembly election, the trend of that will not repeat itself?
Yes, it might repeat itself because it could not also, because from the presidential elections, we're going to National Assembly, people, because all the noise that happened in the presidential election, what happened, we all know there are people that are definitely, on, our national document. So they were so scared to come in the National Assembly to participate, especially those doing dubious games. So they did not, participate much in the parliamentary elections. But you know what? This time they are coming around. Those people that voted in the presidential election never voted in the parliament, they are coming. You understand? And we don't know who is holding, voter registration in their hands anywhere. We don't know. So you cannot tell.
But then the only challenge, the only thing here is that presidential election is all over the country, right? But this one is like concentrated area. So perhaps, if all weights, it will be more monitoring there and more kind of like more concentration, more monitoring, and people will also be careful there, because if you are voting for KMC, you are contesting, let's say the KMC mayor, you will put a lot of people, who will be watching, who will be going, and also trying to counter anything, any dirty game or something. So the manpower would be there, the resources would be there. So it would be difficult. If it is countrywide, maybe the presidential candidate, if you probably concentrate on here, you might not get resources to concentrate on there. And I don't know if they're all going to be the same there. So there is more, the reason why local elections are more difficult to change, because of the focus, the concentration, the resource availability, and so things easily control, and then you can counter certain fraud or stuff like that. So I think that's why. And also, if there need to be recounts, there is also an opportunity to do that easily because it's not the whole country. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I know not everybody is going to vote, even in the PMC. Not everybody is going to vote, but then I just don't trust the system. That's the bottom line. I don't trust the system.
Do you think people can be bought again?
Yeah, exactly. That's what is going to happen. The person with the heavier pocket, might end up winning, not necessarily the good one. But that's the politics we have.
But that trend didn't show on the national assembly election. I mean, they have poured money. The ruling party had poured money in many places that they lost. Why can't that happen in the South now? What is going to change that? If people are really beginning to see that they're looking at the candidate, not the president, because the president is not contested.
Yeah, I definitely agree that the National Assembly that doesn't show, and I don't know the reason factors responsible for that. But then, like I said, the system is
the factors responsible for that, according to many analysts, is that people are focusing on the candidate. In the presidential election, they are focusing on who is the safe person.
Who is senior? Okay.
Yeah. So this one, they are focusing on who's really going to deliver, not looking at because the presidential election, there was a tribal card played, and a lot of things were played that was against one person or another. So they choose the safe choice.
Right. Then we'll see who's going to deliver then, because we're going to see who's going to deliver life for Brikama. Obviously, we know Siriho has tried a little bit. He did some work. We have to acknowledge that fact, because I come from Bruford,
But Sam said he needs to go.
Yeah, I know he needs to go because he could have done better. He could have done better. He did not do. And also for the fact that he has been involved in a lot of scandals, recently with his female workers and all those things. Those are things that you cannot, bestow leadership on person with that kind of credibility. Those are very serious. Even if you are hardworking, but you have those kind of, behaviors, it's not good. It's not good for a leader, So those among a lot of things.
They are unethical behaviors.
Yeah, they are unethical behavior. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. But he has tried in some areas, because he also tried to do some waste management issues in Brikama, even though he could do better. And then also some communities have been given in the West Coast, some wards, have been given money to do market projects like in Brufut. We benefited over 2 million, which we never had for 52 years. When our old market was built in Brufut for 52 years, we never had any money from the council, and we are paying our taxes. But under his leadership, we're able to approve for $2 million, which obviously we are going to counter match or counter fund to build a market. So we have actually benefited on Gunjur and other communities.
He did some good. It's just that
he did some good.
It's not up to expectation.
So the other thing is Banjul and KMC. Those ones, they need to prove themselves, because one, the youth minister obviously, is also doing good, because there are a lot of stadiums that have failed in the country, stadium projects that have failed, and I understand the government is taking them to court. So the time that he's been a youth minister, what has his achievement is what people are going to judge him for the KMC position. And now we have the stadium project.
Do you know of any?
Well, the independent stadium project, we spent 100 million there, and SCAF is still saying the stadium is not fit for purpose. So this means the Gambia cannot host our matches, And then the reason why we budgeted or spend $100 million is to upgrade that stadium so that we can play international games. So it's now going to cost us more. Yeah, it's going to cost us more to go play in Senegal again and other countries, Morocco.
So that's not in favor of you.
Yeah. So the stadium project also, they started in the rural areas like in Kiang and Siara, Janjambure, Kiang and all that. Those projects have also failed. We have not seen much. And the same guy, Ibu Fai, that works at the stadium as a manager there, is the same person vying for the Banjul position again. and he has been part of the GFF, the Gambia Football Federation, and all those things. So he also contested in the past elections against Rohim Malik Law, and he lost. So we are also going to judge him what has been his achievement at the Gambia Sport Ministry or the Gambia Football Federation, and particularly at the stadium, what has been done. So that's what the things that we're going to look at. Basically, like people are going to look at. So if people are going to judge on who is going to do what, already we have seen what Talib has done. We have already seen what Rohim Malik Law has done. So it's now up to the people to decide who they're going to vote.
So definitely there might not be much surprises.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So that your final takes. Final words, Sam.
Yep, I just got to my destination now. Final word. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, we can hear
Okay, good. Yep. Just like I said before, Gambians need to look at the incumbents' records. Look at the records of the current incumbent, the people that are there, the current people, for all these mayors and councilors. Just look at their records, and it's going to help people. Sometimes even in a job interview, when you go to find a job, people are using, or companies are using, a formula that I've been saying before. It's called PAR. P stands for the person's past experience, accomplishments, and results. PAR, past experience. A for accomplishments, and R for results. Gambian people need to look at the past experience of these people, what are their accomplishments, and what is the results of their accomplishments. Those are very, very important. On top of looking at the person's key, I'm trying to think of a word here, keywords to look at in these individuals. Do they have respect? Do they have integrity? Are they honest? And are they trustworthy? Can you trust them? If that's the case, if we Gambians look at all of that in these candidates, it will help them make a determination who to vote for. I think it will be very easy. So that's why I said, yes, well, I agree with Famara. It could be up for grabs. But if electoral reform happens and things go the right way, I will still predict that Bensouda is going to win. And I will still predict that the Rohim Malik Law is going to win. And I don't know about Brekamai and other area councils, I'm not sure. But I do think that based on what I just said, in a past experience, accomplishments, and results, by looking at the individual's records, looking at their integrity, looking at the respect that the people have for them, looking at how honest they are, and looking at how trustworthy these people are, the person in Brikama should go. That's my opinion that I am entitled to, just like everybody's entitled to their opinion. So that's my conclusion to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Yeah, Famara. Famara, your final word.
Yes, Sawane, I'm good. Thank you. So, yeah, let's wait and see. I hope a new Gambia platform will be ready fully on the ground to cover these elections, live and direct, so we can see some of the things going on there, the meetings and all those things. So, exciting moment. We look forward to it. And I'm glad that, and I must say congratulations to the whole new Gambia platform team, for the new project that we have started in the Gambia coming up. So I wish you all the best of luck. And then we are getting there slowly, slowly but surely, hopefully very soon.
Absolutely.
We'll be receiving awards in the Gambia for being the best, TV station of the year.
Definitely. Thank you all for putting the time and
absolutely.
Thank you all for putting the time and sensitizing the people of our nation and all over the globe. I think our viewers are they view this afterwards because, like I said, people are busy with their errands, but a lot of a lot of people do it afterwards and then they share the a lot of people are really coming up with positive feedbacks. somebody said that, they didn't know that they pay themselves, they didn't know that we paying ourselves is one of the key things that we have to look at when we business. So some takeaways, we'll have to discuss are really beneficial. So that's why we continuously come here and sort of do this and brainstorm. If we have guests, we'll invite them, but certain times we don't have guests, we just come here as individuals, or in different domains, trying to, common sense thoughts together and then, share our ideas. We it benefits somebody somewhere. So thanks our viewers, thanks Dr. Barbara. So catch you next week, definitely. We have more topic on the line on the pipeline.
Thank you all. Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.